Hi there, this is Anna Prosser for Kingston HyperX here at MLG Orlando 2011 on day 3 after the competition has ended. And I'm sitting here with Alex Garfield. Alex, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role is here at esports?
Sure. I'm Alex, and I'm CEO owner of EG. Scott and I run EG together, and I started working on EG around 7 or 8 years ago.
And what brings you to esports? Where did you get a passion for doing this type of thing?
I always did a lot of music in school, and I kind of fell behind in team sports in middle school and high school. And when it came time to actually participate again, when I had some time and music was calming down, I was like really far behind, and I wasn't really at the JV or varsity level that I wanted to be at for some sports. Like I was okay at racket sports, but otherwise not so great. And I picked up Counter-Strike one day, and it was like exactly the team environment that I was looking for. And I just kind of became hooked from there.
Well, this weekend has been really great for EG. Can you give us some insight into how your team has performed this weekend and what that makes you feel?
Well, I mean, we have a really great team, obviously, and Chris was great, and Greg was great, and I mean everyone was great, honestly. I'm so thrilled with like the personalities we have on the team and the environment that we've created, and like people have their ups and downs, you know, event to event, month to month, quarter to quarter, but when you have a roster like we do, it's a lot easier to just kind of enjoy the whole thing because everyone's working really hard. You know that even though people might fall victim to, you know, unlucky breaks, everything will be okay.
Well, mostly I talk to players and sometimes I talk to fans, and the fans usually get much more exposure to the player side of things with streams and being able to meet them at events, but they might not get as much exposure to kind of the business side of esports, the behind the scenes side of things. Is there anything you can tell us that maybe most people don't know about that other side, the important business side of esports?
Getting sponsors and maintaining sponsors is a lot of work. You know, we're really grateful for the companies that support us, like Kingston, for example. And I'm sure I'll get the chance to like rattle off the full list of names later. But there's a lot of work that goes into explaining the value that a pro team provides, and even to like allowing the people that really want to support esports in the first place to like have the kind of trackability that they need to justify them spending money on us to their bosses and their CEOs and their companies. It's never as easy as, you know, here's a garbage bag full of money, please put your logo on our shirt, or vice versa rather, but it's never quite that simple, and you have to show them, you know, value and commitment in a lot of ways. They're oftentimes patient with us, and you know they have a commitment to growing the esports industry, and they allow us to find different ways to provide them with value. And I think when people look at like how a team gets sponsored or has a relationship with the company, they have this image of a company seeing a team perform really well at an event and then just like tapping them on the shoulder and be like, I want to sponsor your team, and then there's a contract and a lot of money and you don't really have to do anything, and you put their logo on your shirt and you keep winning, and that's just not how it works at all. So, you know, we have a large team behind the scenes, and you're part of it, that works really hard to keep all those people happy and getting the reporting they need to get so they can keep justifying the marketing dollars that they give us.
I often get asked by people who are really interested in getting into esports, you know, how do I find my way in? Maybe I'm not good enough to be a player, or I don't have time to be a player, or my skills lie somewhere else, and I get asked, how do I break my way in? And you are someone who obviously has a passion for esports and is not a player but has made a career out of being in esports. Do you have any advice for people who may want to also break into that same type of non-player role?
Volunteer to start, because on a management level and a staff level, we're not quite at the point where money is just free-flowing all over the place. But I think that like esports is an industry, just like any evolving industry, that needs people who are just good and committed and can do good work and communicate well with whoever they work for. I think that most of the people on our management team have kind of arrived that way, like starting out as volunteers and seeing what they could do and really just showing that they could contribute a lot. And I think that, you know, if someone can volunteer for EG and make their way up and contribute to what we're doing, then certainly that can be the case for other entities as well.
starting out as a volunteer obviously means that you have a passion for esports, and I'm wondering, as somebody who does care a lot about esports, do you find yourself ever becoming very emotionally involved with these players, or having more than just kind of a business relationship with them? Can you tell us a little bit about how a weekend like this feels for you on a personal level?
Yeah, I mean, when I knew Chris was going to win, I kind of had to like hide my face from everyone because I teared up, to be quite honest. Like, I just put my hand in my hands and tried to digest it. And it was actually happening like throughout the last game because it was obvious that he was going to win, and Jeff kept saying that he was going to win, and Jeff was right, and I knew he was right, but like, it's just the kind of thing where like you don't really let yourself believe it until the other guy GGs, and then he did. I think that like to a certain extent, as a business person, you're supposed to be really divested, and you're supposed to be non-emotional and like make numbers work and like manage people and stuff like that. I don't think I'm particularly good at managing people. I think I'm just good at getting people to trust me and then getting stuff done. And like I think when you take that approach, especially with a pro team, like you have to have, I think, an emotional connection with your players in order to actually like manage them effectively or like motivate them effectively, which is ultimately just like some form of like convincing them to let you into their emotional space so that you can contribute ideally positively. There are a lot of people in the past and in the present who have this image of like some kind of esports coach like running around behind the team like ranting and raving, giving motivational speeches, and it's just not how it works. It's just like, I think if you can come to a good understanding, you realize that you're in a business relationship with the person, you realize that you're both people, and especially like when you're a player and you're in front of the camera and you're playing in front of all these people, there's such an emotional aspect to it. You need to have that kind of connection, and I think I've really improved like my personal skill set in the past year and a half in that regard, and hopefully like it's had a contribution to like how some of the EG players are doing.
Well, I know that you don't do quite a few interviews. This is one of the few that I know you've done, so thank you for that. But if you were to have kind of a moment to get on your esports soapbox, if you will, and give a message to the community, what would that be?
Well, I think people don't realize exactly how much it helps when fans like buy team merchandise and stuff like that. One of the biggest problems with the esports industry is that we rely on like non-esports money and revenue to like come in and support us, and then it like goes all right back out of the industry. Like we get like marketing budgets from companies, and they come in, and a lot of them go to like prize money and player salaries, and obviously players need to support themselves. They're not going to put it back into the industry. But things like people buying lessons and people buying EG t-shirts and stuff like that is kind of a new thing in the past 6 to 12 months, and it just directly keeps revenue inside the industry and allows it to be like functional and self-sustaining. And it's just so valuable. Like, people see EG and like I think they see kind of like a giant, and it obviously takes a lot of work and number crunching to make things work, and like it helps so much when people buy our shirts. Like, thank you for buying our shirts. Please buy more of our shirts, because it goes directly back into like helping us support our players. And if you don't like us or you like other people better, then buy their shirts, because it's just a really great way to make it a viable industry for everyone.
Well, I personally would like to thank Kingston HyperX for making it possible for me to attend these events and do great interviews. Alex, is there anyone that you would like to thank before we sign off?
Of course, our sponsors, our usual top four, Intel, SteelSeries, Monster, Kingston HyperX. I'd also like to thank Beyond Gaming, who recently came on and made a lot of what's been happening recently possible. We have a lot of exciting announcements coming soon in the next week or two with regards to them. So I want to thank Aaron and Tony from Beyond Gaming for their contributions. And again, like, thanks to all of our fans, and especially like your direct support, whether it's buying a t-shirt or visiting our website and helping our page views go up or watching a player stream, is exactly the kind of support that we need. And ultimately, it's really like the fact that there's been so much fan involvement and viewership and interaction that has allowed like StarCraft 2 to get where it is. So, don't ever think for a second that's not the case. That's exactly the case. So please keep helping.
Thanks a lot, Alex.